Hello, everybody. Iceworm here. This is going to be the very first of hopefully a weekly video log I'm going to be doing. Probably once a week, maybe more if other stuff comes up. But in this first episode, if you want to call it that, I'm going to be discussing, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Pandora station I'm working on, some video game related stuff, and stuff like that. So I just got back from seeing Guardians of the Galaxy for the second time. I went with the 3D version this time. 3D was pretty cool, especially all the cosmic kind of stuff, all the stuff in space and all that. No spoilers in this, but a lot of the effects were pretty cool looking in 3D. And this is actually the first movie I've seen twice this year. I didn't even see Captain America 2 twice. I probably should have. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy in 3D was really well done. Sorry, excuse me. And the 3D was pretty impressive, I thought. I don't think it was as good as, say, Gravity or anything like that. But, it definitely added a little bit more to, the whole cosmic feel of the entire movie. So, yeah, definitely worth checking out. And last Friday, I think, after I saw the movie, got on iTunes and bought the soundtrack pretty much instantly. Loved the music in the movie. And I'm actually working on a Pandora station right now for Guardians of the Galaxy. I created the station Friday night, and I added all the artists from the soundtrack and all the songs from the soundtrack into what they call the seeded search, where it basically pulls stuff from that and uses similar kind of music and stuff like that. And I've been going through pretty much every day, thumbing up, thumbing down songs. So there will be a link to the station in the description, and I hope you guys give it a listen and check it out and let me know what you think. I think so far the mix is pretty good. I've had to thumb down a few things. Songs that I like I love the Beatles, but for example, I don't really think they belong in this particular station. And there's a few other bands I've had to thumb down that don't really fit the feel of what the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack had on it. So again, link will be in the description, and let me know what you think on that. Another thing that's been kind of on my mind lately is in first-person shooters specifically, the reload animations on the various guns. I've been playing a lot of Counter-Strike Global Offensive over the past probably month or two, and I've noticed whenever you reload a gun, even when the magazine isn't empty, it still has the full reload animation. So, for example, on a gun, the guy will fire a few shots off, reload, and then put in a new clip and continue, and then cock the gun as well, which is unnecessary because in the way the mechanics of an actual gun. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about guns. I've only done some range shooting once or twice, but if there's a bullet in the chamber still, it doesn't need to be cocked. It'll basically, the next time you pull the trigger, it'll fire. So this is one thing that the Call of Duty games actually get right. For example, if you fire a couple shots off a gun, the guy will just put a new clip in, and you can continue shooting. In Counter-Strike, they'll pull the clip out, put a new one in, and then go through the entire animation of pulling back the bolt or cocking it again and that kind of thing. And I guess it's not that big of a deal from that perspective, but what can be get you killed in the games though is the extra time that those parts of the animation take that aren't necessary. For example, whenever you reload like an M16 in the game, or is it an M4? I don't know. I think there is an M16. Maybe that was the older Counter-Strike. But and it requires a guy to basically pull this hammer back, and that's just a split second, but it could be the difference between you getting, the shot off that you need or getting shot yourself in the game. And then also I've noticed whenever you switch to or from a gun, it doesn't do the reload animation when you switch to it, but when you use your mouse wheel, or I think it's a Q and E, or the Q button too, which will rotate your guns, it'll go through the animation of actually pulling back on, for example, on the P90, there's a little bolt on the front. Switch to that, he takes his thumb and switches and slides it back every time you switch to it. And then like for example, it's even worse on some of the pistols, especially the Desert Eagle in the game, because the animation is the guy will pull it out and then do one of these spinny, or like flare with a gun kind of thing, which I've had to switch to that pistol because I ran out of ammo or didn't want to reload, so I switched. And then by the time the guy was done doing the animation, the twirling the gun animation, I got shot and got killed in the game. So I don't think that these extra animations they're not realistic and they're not really necessary in the game. And some of them can actually affect gameplay like that did. But yeah, it's just something like a little pet peeve of mine in shooters is when it goes into a full reload animation when it's not really necessary. And the last thing is Twitch just sent out an email this afternoon, excuse me, saying they've partnered with a company called Audible Magic. And what this Audible Magic company does is they represent like music companies. So Audible Magic will scan Twitch videos. These are just past broadcast videos and things like that. They're not scanning streams yet. I don't know if they will, but if they do, this could be bad for that too. But what it does is scans the streams for any like unauthorized third-party audio. So basically, if you have music that you play in the background of your stream, it'll scan it for that, and once it finds it, it'll mute your video. Not your stream, sorry, but yeah, it'll mute the video for a 30-minute block where all audio controls will also be disabled. So the viewer can't unmute it, they can't turn the volume up or down. It'll just be muted for 30 minutes. And they say if it finds just 30 seconds of third-party audio, it'll mute the video. And I can understand why they're doing that, especially if people are using Twitch to play music in the background that the person playing the music doesn't have the right to, I guess, rebroadcast. But I've also read that this scanning might also affect games that have licensed music in their soundtrack. So, for example, the Grand Theft Auto games, since Grand Theft Auto 3, have all had in-game radio stations that you can listen to. And these stations are for the most part, I think in Grand Theft Auto 3, there was only one station that actually was licensed music, and everything else was kind of done by Rockstar themselves. But since Vice City, everything has been licensed from, like in Vice City, it's all 80s music that they licensed through the various bands that were, around in the 80s. And then in San Andreas, it was mostly late 80s and early 90s. And then in Grand Theft Auto 4, it was, they had like a bigger mix of stuff. And then in 5, I didn't play 5 very much on the consoles, but they had, various stations in there too. But they've said that this scanning technology will also probably set off a false positive for games like this that have music in the games that were, licenses were paid for by, the developers or publishers. So it'll set off false positives on videos like that and potentially mute those as well. And for example, about a month ago, I bought a game. It was on sale on Steam called Let's Sing. It's a karaoke game. And I wonder if that is going to set off these false positives as well. Because, that game is just music. Because you can go into the game and listen to the music if you want. Or you can also play the game like karaoke and sing along. But I think it's going to set off false positives, and hopefully if enough of that happens, maybe they'll go through and redesign or reconfigure the scanning software so it knows what game, or maybe have a list of games saying this game, if there's any music in this game that you recognize from this list, don't block it because it's licensed. So I think what I might do is actually, just to test this out, I might stream some Grand Theft Auto Vice City or maybe the Let's Sing karaoke game and see if it sets off any false positives. I'm kind of interested to see how this works or how it's going to affect games that have licensed soundtracks. And also it'll probably affect sports games as well, because a lot of the EA sports games have I think it's called like EA tracks is what they call it, but it's all licensed music from various various artists that they use in the game. And the NBA and the 2K sports games do this too, because I have NBA 2K14 and it has a whole soundtrack on it. And I wonder if I stream that if it'll set off false positives. I mean, like I said, I'll tweet out if I do a live stream of any of those games, and then I'll save the video and save it as like a past broadcast and see what happens. And again, I want to thank you all for watching this very first vlog. I'm gonna try to do these once a week. If other stuff comes up during the week, I might do another one. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at icewarm. You can check out my blog at icewarm.org. And if you like these videos or the other stuff I do around the internet, you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/icewarm. Again, that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Thanks.